Good afternoon. Thanks for being here on this very special day for Cyclone Athletics. Let me begin by introducing the front table. To my right, the ISU President, Dr. Stephen Leaf, the Director of Athletics, Jamie Pollard, and the new head football coach at Iowa State, Matt Campbell. After these three gentlemen speak, we'll do a short question and answer session. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium ISU President, Dr. Stephen Leaf.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here as we usher in an exciting new era of Iowa State football. We're delighted to have you with us. The first thing I want to do as I start my remarks is to thank Paul Rhodes for the love, dedication, passion he showed for Iowa State and Iowa State football over the last 7 years. So as president, my thanks and recognition go out to Paul. But then we transition today, and I must say I am thrilled to welcome Matt Campbell as the new head coach of the Cyclones. Matt is a proven leader, not only his ability to win games and achieve success on the football field, but also in his ability to recruit, mentor, and develop outstanding student athletes, which is what we're about here at Iowa State. He's exactly the type of coach we want to take charge of our football program here. Many of you have heard me talk, and I talk often, about my vision to raise the profile of Iowa State University and enhance our reputation as a university that's known for excellence. We're committed to excellence in our academics, in our research, and in our service. But we're also committed to excellence in our athletics, and it shows. Demand for an Iowa State degree has reached unprecedented levels. Our faculty are renowned in their fields. Our research is solving complex problems and advancing our economy. And our student athletes are tough competitors as well as they are scholars. And I'm confident Matt has the ability to elevate Cyclone football to the same level of excellence. He recognized the important role athletics, and particularly a winning football program, plays in advancing our university. When the Cyclone athletes achieve at a high level, it attracts attention across the state and across the nation. This has a positive ripple effect, stimulating interest and success in all other areas of the university. Winning teams help generate a sense of loyalty, school pride, and they help keep alumni, fans, and supporters engaged and connected to a university. Thanks go to our alumni and supporters. Our stadium and practice facilities are now among the best in the Big 12. And I know Matt has the vision, determination, and winning attitude that can position Iowa State among the best teams in the Big 12. He is a high-caliber coach who understands the Cyclone way, that we work hard, we compete with integrity, and we strive for championships. Matt, his wife Erica, their 3 children, a 4th one on the way, I believe are a truly perfect fit for the Cyclones. I couldn't be more excited about the future of Cyclone football. That I say, Matt, welcome, and I'm going to turn the podium over to our athletics director, Jamie Pollard.
Thank you, Dr. Leaf. I, too, am very excited and pleased to be here this afternoon. As I shared with you all several months ago, the most important thing I can do as an athletics director for our student athletes is to hire the right head coaches. The national landscape for head coaches right now is unprecedented. This week and next week will be intense and very stressful for many directors of athletics. It's going to be really fun to sit back and watch and enjoy that because we found our man. I have some thank yous that I really need to share with you all. First of all, to Dr. Leaf. We could not navigate this process like we did in such a short time period without the leadership and the trust of the president of the university. I take great pride for Iowa State University that we are here today while many of my peers are still trying to figure out how to put their car in gear. We have a leader that understands how important football is to this institution and understands that landscape and how we needed to maneuver through it. I also want to thank Daniel and Dan Parker from Parker Search. Many people think you hire search firms to identify candidates. That's not how it happens, at least at Iowa State. I'm not doing my job if I don't know who the candidates are. What we hire Parker Search for is to help us strategize and execute our plan. And Daniel and Dan allowed us to be in a position to get the person that we wanted to get. Part of this process was identifying what our needs are. And there are several people that I really want to thank for being confidants to me. They didn't tell me who to hire, but they allowed me to talk about what does our program need to build upon what Dan McCarney and Paul Rhodes have put in place. I want to thank Ben Bruns, one of our outstanding players and a very, very great student athlete. He's helped us not only as a football player, but also in his professional life in helping us build these wonderful facilities. Ben was a great resource for me to be able to talk to him just about where are we at and what do we need to do. I want to also thank Sage Rodenfels. Sage is, very few people can be known by one name, and we all know in Cyclone country when we say Sage. Sage was there, did not tell me what to do. He was there as a resource to be able to just talk about what he felt we needed to do going forward. I also want to thank one of our donors, Steve Bergstrom, alum of Iowa State University. He's invested in this place both personally as a former student, but also personally in many of our facilities. He's put a financial investment into this program, and he's been a great resource for me to just talk through what the blueprint should look like. I want to share a stat with you that all of those individuals and I talked about, and the stat really comes from Steve Melchow, who did a great job of researching this. In the last 3 years in the Big 12, the team that rushed for more yards has won 80% of the games. 80% of the games. The team that rushed for more yards was in a one-possession game 90% of the time. And of the other 10%, half the time it was a team that was an unranked team playing a ranked team. So what does that tell you? What it tells you, if you can run the ball in the Big 12, you're going to be in the game or win the game 90% of the time. We needed to identify who fit that need. And this is going to be one that will surprise many of you, I'm sure. But I want to thank Jerry Kill, the former football coach at the University of Minnesota. Coach Kill and I have a unique relationship that goes back, and it's been really enjoyable for me to be able to reach out to somebody that fits that identity and understands it, but that's respected in this business, and helped us talk through who are those candidates that we should be really looking at. I want to thank some people that helped me identify who fit that best. The young men in our locker room. We asked our young men to give us characteristics of what they thought would help us achieve in the future. I also want to thank those young men for being unbelievably mature over the last week and a half as they went through a series of emotions that most people will never get a chance to experience. And I also want to thank David Harris, our Senior Associate Athletics Director. David was with me at my side throughout this entire process. A former football player at Ole Miss that's been here for 10 years, been with me for 14 years. We don't have to think what the other person's thinking. We know what the other person's thinking. And to have a person of that caliber at your side throughout this process allowed us to get where we're at. Why Matt? Why Matt? Number one, we were looking for a head coach. This job is hard enough without having to spend time trying to figure out what you're going to do and who you're going to do it with as far as your assistants. We wanted a head coach that knew what they were going to do and had done it before with their assistant coaches. We wanted a person that fit those needs, tough-minded, Midwestern-based, run-first, who can recruit. We hit a home run on every one of those points. We wanted somebody with high character. There's not a person that we talked to that could say one bad thing about Matt Campbell. We wanted a winner. I said this when we did the basketball search. Find me somebody who wins and they'll win again. I believe, and I hope I don't have this incorrect, but I believe you said, since you've played and coached, you've never finished the season without playing in the playoffs or playing in a bowl game. The end of the season has mattered every year of his life, and we plan to have it be that way going forward. And here's the best part. He wants to be at Iowa State. Let me tell you a story. I'd heard it from a couple of my close confidants, and then I got to hear it firsthand between Erica and Matt. 2 years ago, when Toledo played here, when Matt got off the bus, he didn't go into his locker room. He walked our tailgate parking lots and watched how our fans enjoyed the pregame festivities. He watched our team do the spirit walk. He experienced our game day atmosphere. He saw and touched our facilities. And after the game, he called Erica and he said, "You're not going to believe their fans, their game day atmosphere, and their facilities. I can envision us living in Ames, Iowa, and if that job ever comes available, it's the one I want." How, Matt? I believe fate played a big part of this, and so do they. I talked about the landscape and the ebbs and flows of the hiring process. We thought Matt wasn't going to be available to meet. He's a high character person. He said he absolutely would not meet prior to their team playing in the MAC championship game. I tried every possible way to not have that be the case. I called in every favor I could find, but he stayed steadfast to that belief. And every time I ran up against that wall and was frustrated because I knew if we had to wait a week in this landscape, it probably wasn't going to turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. I also felt more convicted that he was the person because he was putting the young men in that locker room ahead of himself. Fate came into play because he was available to meet on Saturday morning. And we didn't give up. We were ready. We had Parker and Associates strategizing. We were in Detroit. We were there. We were in position A and ready to meet with him if he was able to meet. How did Saturday go? I just believe you all need to hear some of this. Saturday went really well when we met. I think Erica thought she was coming down just to meet us, and we asked her to stay for the entire interview. Why? Because we weren't just hiring Matt. We were hiring both of them. We spent several hours together getting to know one another, and we got to that spot where you have to ask yourself, where do we go from here? And I remember saying, there's three ways we can go from here. One of them was, can we roll up our sleeves and finish it right now? Matt looked at Erica. They quickly talked about, they'd heard everything they needed to hear, and he reached his hand across the table and shook my hand. We hadn't even talked about compensation yet. And he said, I want to be the Cyclones football coach. That doesn't happen in this day and age anymore, folks. What we've talked about since is what we both knew at that particular moment is that we trusted one another. We had found somebody you really wanted to work for and work with. And the compensation would take care of itself because we both would figure out how to do what's right for both sides. So Saturday actually was a very pleasant afternoon. Saturday evening was a really fun night for David, Steve, and myself. We enjoyed dinner and flew back to Ames, Iowa, knowing what Sunday was going to be like. And what I learned on Sunday morning is we've got one heck of a football coach because he spent Saturday night grinding and working already as being the Iowa State football coach. Katie, Izzy, by the way, I'm going to put a plug in here. The Ames High School is going to be ecstatic because we got 2 swimmers right here to help them continue that trend to win in state championships. But Katie, Izzy, Rudy, where did Rudy go? He got squirrely and left the room. And baby Campbell, it's my sincere pleasure that I not only get to officially introduce your dad as our next head coach, but I get to allow him to fulfill that vision when he called your mom to say he wanted to be the Iowa State football coach. It's my pleasure to introduce our new head football coach, Matt Campbell.
Well, I'll say this. I'm truly humbled, honored, and privileged to be a part of this great university and this great football program. It's an honor for me to be the new head football coach here. It's honestly been a whirlwind 72 hours, and Jamie kind of hit the nail on the head. It's been crazy. But as fate has led us here, I am beyond thankful and beyond grateful to be the new leader of this football program. This process truly doesn't happen without the vision, and I think you guys know, the persistence of tremendous leaders. One of the finest athletic directors in the country, who quite honestly has built one of the most incredible athletic departments in the entire country, and that's Jamie Pollard. For this to even happen, I know Jamie. It had to be the right fit for him. And I think as you get to know me, it's all about people. It had to be the right fit for myself and my beautiful family. Jamie told the story, and Jamie told it correct. 2 years ago, we had the great opportunity to come here and play a football game. And for whatever reason that day, maybe it was poor planning by the head football coach, we got here about 2 hours and 45 minutes before the game started. So I'm nervous constantly. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to walk around. And I want to see this place. And as we came in, I was just so impressed with the fans and the energy and the excitement that surrounded this place. And I said, I want to get out there and just see what this is about. And so as a matter of fact, I walked out on the field and kind of walked up the visitor side of the stadium and overlooked the grass practice fields. And as I watched the team do the spirit walk coming in, I was blown away. The support, the energy, the fans. And I couldn't have been more impressed with what was going on. And then the game occurred. And every seat was full. The energy, the spirit, the culture that sat around this program was incredible. And as the game ended, we left, and I got to the bus. And before I got on the bus, Jamie's right, I made that phone call. And I told my wife, I said, Erica, you're not going to believe this place. Incredible. Culture, fans, facilities, people. This is a really special place. And I'll tell my Toledo story in a little bit, but you know, this is a place that's different than a lot of places that I've been. It's got great people. It's a great place. I could see us at a place like this someday. And so, you know, it's amazing that fate has had this turn in my life. And Jamie, I'm thankful, and I'm grateful for you believing in me and trusting in me. Now, I do know this. Culture doesn't just happen. Culture comes from amazing leadership from the top. And I want to thank President Leith. I'm floored by the energy and the vision and the leadership that we've even had the opportunity in 2 days to see from you. You breed excellence. And for me, the only thing I can promise you is I'm going to do everything in my power to breed the same excellence into our football program that you've breeded into this university. And I want to thank you for your support of me. The last person I want to thank as well is I want to thank David Harris. And I know David's here. And David, thank you. You've been a great bridge of communication, of leadership in this short process. But I can already tell you've been a steadying rock for me in the early parts of getting this going. And I really appreciate you, and I think we're going to have a really special relationship. I look forward to continuing to develop that with you. But thank you as well. Now for me, my journey a little bit. My journey doesn't happen today without the great people at the University of Toledo. I want to thank Mike O'Brien, our great athletic director there, who believed in me. 4 years ago, similar time frame, Coach Ianni, I know, is sitting back there. And Coach Ianni and I were in a recruiting trip to Chicago, Illinois. Halfway there, I get a phone call from our athletic director, and he says, "Matt, how would you like to be the youngest coach in Division I football and come back and lead our football program?" So we turned around, and we had 3 days to get this interview done. We had 3 hours, Coach Lou, to get that interview done. And in 3 hours, I became the new head football coach at the University of Toledo. I owe Mike the courage and the foresight to believe in me. We built one of the finest programs in the Mid-American Conference. What we've done there in 4 years is unheard of. We became one of the 4 rights of the Mid-American Conference. We've become a national presence this year, ranked in the top 25 throughout the entire year. And we've done some unbelievable things hand in hand of building that football program. I also want to thank our players there. And as my new Iowa State players find out, it's all about the players. It's not about Matt Campbell. It's about our players. I walked in to Toledo 7 years ago as an assistant at the offensive coordinator, and we inherited a 3-9 football team. And in 7 years, we flipped it from 3-9 to 9-2. And we did it because our players trusted into the process that it takes to be elite. They trusted in. They believed what was going on. We coached with unbelievable attitude and effort, but those young men trusted into the process that it takes to be special. The hardest thing for me to take this job was to walk into a staff room yesterday at 4 o'clock and look into the eyes of those young men that laid their guts out for me and our coaching staff, believed in me, and did everything in their power to take Toledo football to where it is today. I'll forever love those guys. I'm so proud to be their football coach, and I'll miss them greatly. I also want to do this. I want to thank the community and the people of the University of Toledo. We built something really special and something different there. It wasn't just about winning and losing football games. Team GPA of over a 3.0 the last 4 semesters there, 105 young men. One of the highest APR rankings in the country. Our young men did things right on and off the football field, and quite honestly, that only happens if there's a total buy-in value, a total trust-in value from the community and the university. Great people, and I'll miss them greatly, and I wouldn't be here without each and every one of them. My own foundation in coaching, I'd be remiss not to thank 3 of the greatest mentors that I've ever had to get me to this point today. Number 1, my father. My father, a longtime high school head football coach and administrator, and a gentleman that my greatest memories as a young child is going to 2-a-day practice and watching my father coach the game of football. And what he taught me was work ethic, and do the right thing. 2 simple qualities that go a long way. Number 2, my high school football coach, who ironically is going to be playing for a state championship, the first in school history this coming Friday. A gentleman that's the winningest Ohio high school football coach in Ohio high school history. A gentleman that molded me into these 2 foundations, attitude and effort. 2 things that takes no talent to control on a day in, day out basis. The attitude and effort that you come in with and you lead with. And last but not least, maybe the greatest mentor for me was my college football coach, a gentleman by the name of Larry Karras, the winningest all-time college football coach in college football history. A man that won multiple national championships, the highest winning percentage ever in college football history, and honestly, a man that changed my life. There's a sign at Mount Union as you go in, and everybody wants to know what's the mystique of Mount Union. Pretty simple. The sign says as you go into the locker room, faith, family, football. That order. Changed my life, and I'm unbelievably grateful for all three of those great mentors. The greatest blessing in my life is my great family. And I'll say this. I'm the head coach now at Iowa State, but the head coach of our family is no question is my beautiful wife, Erica. Our story is really simple. We're high school sweethearts. She's been with me every step of the way. And she is unbelievably the rock of my life. We've been through a lot. She's been the steadying force the entire way through. And I know I wouldn't be here without her love and support. I love you and I'm thankful for you. Katie and Izzy. So Cyclone Nation just got two also the greatest cheerleaders you're going to find. So you can already see they're in their cardinal and gold. We got them ready to rock and roll. But I love them greatly. Their support has been unbelievable. I miss you and love you with all my heart. To my little guy Rudy sitting in the back, okay, he's already ready to rock and roll. He's got his tie on today, looks pretty sharp. He's a budding tight end recruit. So we're getting him ready to go. Tight end, defensive end, he'll be ready to go, I know it. And then a new arrival in the Campbell family in February, and we can't wait. Our fourth child comes in February, so it'll just add to a little bit of the craziness in the Campbell house. I also want to thank my parents. As I said, my father, a longtime head high school football coach, an administrator and educator. Unbelievably grateful for everything he's taught me. My mother, Elaine Campbell, who is, quite honestly, again, another educator, somebody that has always believed in education and the value of doing the right thing, and sometimes gets shortchanged because my father being a head football coach. But without both of my parents, quite honestly, I know I wouldn't be here today, and I think I've got some of the greatest qualities of both of my parents. I'm so thankful for each and every one of them. My in-laws, Melody and Tim Smith, I'm so thankful for and all their support that they continue to have. Erica's father, Mike Hama, continues to be a great support system for me. Now, before I answer questions, I want to say a couple things. Number one, I know this. Paul Rhodes is a great man. I know he's beloved by this community. I know he's laid a tremendous foundation to Iowa State football. I have the utmost respect for Coach Rhodes. And I know this. My job is to continue to grow that foundation and continue to take it to an elite level. I said this, and you'll hear me talk about this. In life, change is inevitable. Change happens. But greatness is a choice. Our ability to wake up day in and day out, control our attitude and effort, greatness is a choice. From this day forward, every decision that I make will be strained to bring greatness to the fans, alumni, community, the great students, and the great student athletes that I get a chance to coach on a day in, day out basis. I'm truly honored to be a Cyclone, and I'm truly honored and humbled to be the head football coach here. With that said, I certainly would love to open it up to any questions you have.
The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Cyclones.tv.